don't know how to start this without sounding crazy, but this really happened. And the worst part is that it started as a joke and ended up being something that made me feel trapped. In middle school, there was a boy named Danny. He wasn't the classroom bully, not the typical bad boy. He was just a normal boy, but with a weird attitude. He was always around me, not because he was my friend, but because he seemed to be studying me. At first, I didn't care. I thought he was just a guy who liked annoying people for fun. He would push me in the hallways, make awkward jokes, laugh when I went quiet. And the strangest part was that he didn't do it to anyone else, only me. That's when it started to bother me, because I'm not someone who seeks attention, and he seemed determined to make me noticed. One day, in Spanish class, he shoved my notebook and loudly said, "Hey you, why do you always look so weird? You should smile more." The class laughed, like always. I ignored him, but he didn't stop. He kept staring at me all day, like he was waiting for a reaction. After class, when everyone was leaving, he came up to me. He said, "Hey, why don't you give me a chance?" I replied with a, "No thanks," like you do to any guy you're not interested in. But he laughed, like I had said something funny. And that's when the real weird part started. Danny didn't leave. He stayed near me, like he was waiting for a reaction. Then he said, "I'm going to tell you something nobody else has told you." I froze. And he said, "You're special. I like you." I thought it was a joke. I thought it was just a typical comment from a guy trying to get attention. But no, he was talking like he was serious, like I was the only person in the world. Then, to top it off, he pulled a small box out of his backpack. He opened it, and inside was a fake gold ring that was clearly copper because it was already turning green. And he said, "I want you to be my girlfriend. I'm serious." I stayed silent. I didn't know what to say. Because on one hand, it was ridiculous. But on the other, the fact that he was serious scared me. I said, "This is weird. I don't want that." And he answered with a calm smile, like I was a kid who didn't understand something. "Then you leave me no choice." And that's when he said the sentence that still makes me uncomfortable. "If you don't accept, I'm going to make your life impossible." I thought he was joking, but he wasn't. After that day, everything changed. Danny started following me more closely. He stopped pushing me, stopped making jokes in front of everyone. He became quieter. He would stare at me in the hallways, like he was waiting for me to notice him. I tried to ignore him, because that's what they teach you. If you ignore him, he'll get tired. But no, he didn't get tired. He got obsessed. One day, during recess, I ran into him in a corner. He said, "I saw you with your friends. They shouldn't leave you alone." I replied, "I'm fine, thanks." And he said, "I'm telling you because I love you." And I thought, okay, this is getting weird. What scared me was that he didn't seem like a boy trying to flirt. He seemed like someone who was convinced I belonged to him. That week, he started sending me messages. Long, weird messages. Things like, "If you ignore me, I'm going to make you regret it. If you don't give me a chance, I'll prove you can't live without me. You'll realize I'm the best thing that's ever happened to you." I didn't respond, and that made him angry. One morning in math class, he stood in front of me and said loudly, "I like her." The class laughed because it was Danny being Danny. But what he did next froze me. He got down on one knee in the middle of the classroom like he was in a movie and said, "I love you. Will you be my girlfriend?" The teacher went silent. The class went silent. I just wanted to disappear. I said, "Stop, this is ridiculous." And he replied, "If you say no, you will never be calm again." I didn't understand what was happening, because Danny wasn't a boy who acted like this with anyone else, only me. And that was what scared me. After that, school got harder, because people started talking about him, but not like, "Oh, how funny." More like, "That kid is weird." I tried to talk to the principal. I told them what was happening, but like always, they answered with something like, "Don't provoke him. Don't give it importance. Sometimes boys do stupid things." That didn't help, because Danny wasn't doing stupid things. He was harassing me. One day after class, I saw him waiting near the exit. He grabbed my arm and said, "Why don't you answer me? Why don't you love me?" I said, "Because I don't know you." And he replied, "I know you better than yourself." That's when something in me broke. Not out of fear, out of anger. Because it wasn't just that he was harassing me, it was that he thought I didn't have the right to say no. So I told him clearly, "If you want to be with me, stop messaging me, stop following me, stop talking to me, and stop acting like I belong to you." He went quiet, and I walked away, angry, because I was tired of everyone minimizing what was happening. I walked for a bit, and that's when I saw him, Luca. Luca was the popular guy, but not the typical bad guy. He was one of those who knows he can be strong without humiliating anyone. And he talked to me like it was normal, like a friend. "Hey, what's up? You look good." I answered, "Yeah," but without enthusiasm, because I was angry, and I didn't want to talk about Danny with anyone. Time passed, and Danny stopped getting intense when he saw me with Luca, like he had decided he couldn't compete with someone strong. But one day he stood in front of everyone in the hallway and said, "Luca, you stole my girl." The hallway went quiet, because Danny said it seriously, like I was his property, like I was something he could lose. Luca looked at him and said, "Your girl? She's not yours. And if you keep talking like that, I'm going to break your face." Danny got angry. He became aggressive. And then what everyone expected happened. Luca beat him in a humiliating way. It wasn't an epic fight. It was one quick hit, a fall, and Danny on the floor staring at the ground while everyone laughed. And not only did they laugh at him, they laughed at the idea that someone could own another person. After that, Danny became the joke of the school. No one listened to him. No one laughed at his jokes. No one was afraid of him anymore. And that was the story of the boy who bothered me. Until he confessed in the worst way possible and ended up humiliated in front of everyone for thinking he had the right to claim a girl.